You know what it is, Superstar J VIP Saturdays got a special show. I'm gonna say one of my rap idols, Big Daddy Kane in the building.
Well, I thank you a lot, brother. Appreciate you, man.
Yes, man, I appreciate you. I want to get into it that before, but you had a real setup on the Instagram. Some people didn't. You took pride in doing it. It was you had building up the concert and everything. And it just shows you, to give back to your fans about, just us staying in the crib. And I just want to salute you on that because I watched the whole show.
Oh, thank you, brother. Thank you. Well, I couldn't have done it without my DJ Skaz Digger. He came over with all the equipment and all the necessary plugs to make the connections and all the technical electronic stuff. And and we made it happen.
Now I want to get into this about the hip hop party. What made you want to connect with Mike Epps with this show?
Well, Mike is my dude. Me and Mike Epps actually talked about something like this. I want to say about, I don't know, maybe like 3-4 years ago. Just that never really got around to it. But now with everything all slowed down, it was actually it was a perfect time, to make it happen. And, when I got the call, I was like, looking forward, and then also having the opportunity to share the stage with Dougie, Rakim, KRS, Great Nice, beautiful.
What was the conversations like? Because I know you haven't seen them in a while and it looked refreshing. I seen the pictures with all of y'all together. What was the conversations like? Yo, how are we gonna, survive during this COVID? Because I know a lot of times that, people appreciate your live show.
Yeah. Well, I see Dougie and Rakim all the time. We always on shows together. But it was good seeing KRS. I hadn't seen him in a long time, and we had a long conversation and cracked jokes on each other and stuff like that. But other than that, just really just checking in. How you doing? How you holding up? Yada yada. That's about it. But it was cool though. It was cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. I seen the pictures. Now, is it performances or I know it's a performance, but are they doing like in-depth personal interviews with all of y'all?
Oh yeah. Like we all did full sets, and then we did one-on-one interviews. It wasn't a group thing. Like we all did individual one-on-one interviews. I believe after the performance. Yeah.
The question is this: did y'all discuss about when things do open up, y'all doing a tour all together?
Well, we always been touring, like since the early 2000s. When they came up with this new term, old school hip hop.
Yeah.
we've been touring a whole lot since then. So I'm always on the road with like Dougie, Rakim, MC Light, Chubb Rock, Houdini. We always out on the road together.
Well, I want to get into some music. I don't want to. I'm gonna do my set. I got to do my Kane set, but I want to get into the new music since you got it. That we got it right now. I want you to introduce the new single with Chuck D. And how did this come about too?
After hearing Tamika Mallory speak in Minneapolis after the George Floyd incident, I was just really moved. I was really moved by her words, man, and her passion. And I'm like, this sister's hurting, and I feel her pain. And there's a lot of pain that we all feeling, because we all have brothers, sisters, children, and so on, So, I just was like, I want to say something about this. I haven't really been in the mood to really do any new recording, but right now I want to say something. And, when I hit Chuck D up about it and say, hey, man, I got an idea when we can do some real James Brown, Bobby Bird type stuff, at the Vamp on a song. And, he sent me a copy of State of the Union. And I was like, oh, man, well, yeah, we on the same page then. Beautiful. Yeah, let's make it happen. And then reached out to Lauren Oden. And because, he's a brother with a beautiful voice, man. And I was like, but, I was hoping that you could do some of the stuff you was doing on the Black Dynamite soundtrack, as opposed to, your regular, smooth vocals and the pretty tone. And he like, man, Kane, ain't nothing pretty in the world right now. He's like, all I'm feeling right now is pain, man. He's like, yeah, don't worry about that. I don't feel like singing nothing pretty right now. And I was like, my man. And, we made it happen.
We talked about that in before the song about just I talk to all my young boys, and I always say that, and I don't know why it happens in our genre in music that they try to age people out. You know what I mean? Like what you said, the old school concerts and all this. And I always felt, I would want to ask you, like, I feel like music is music. Like everybody if you come with a big hit, then nobody thinks about age, nothing. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I agree because as you said, in our genre,
Yes.
because they don't call Mick Jagger the old school rock singer. They don't call Smokey Robinson old school R&B singer. They don't call Madonna old school pop singer. That's a term that they use in hip hop alone. And it's like when you give artists this expiration date, what happens is that not only are you hurting that artist's career, but you're affecting your future because you never really get the chance to really sit and chop it up and build with the past generation and learn from their mistakes so that you don't make them in your future career. You going into a music career blindsided thinking that you know everything and the artists before you are irrelevant. And then when it get raggedy for you and the money is gone, you wondering what happened. And there are a whole bunch of artists that were right there that you had access to that could have gave you the game, like, yo, don't do this, don't sign this, don't let them tell you this, So I mean, I think it would be a lot better if artists could bridge that gap and figure out a way to connect on both sides. And when I say both sides, I mean not only the younger artists willing to try to get the game from the generation before them, but also the generation before them not looking down on the young artists, feeling like, oh, they think they know everything, forget them. We have to teach the babies, man. We got to educate the babies. So we see the younger generation, if they don't know, then give them the jewel, let them know. It's really a matter of what they choose to do with it once you give them the jewel.
Do you feel, I feel like sometimes, like even when you look at, I always try to elaborate my music to sports. And I feel like if they had like, a coaching system, you got a development coach, you know what I'm saying? A person like, I wish some labels would, even make, I don't know if they even asked you to be the exec, you know what I mean? Like, how dope would it be if Big Daddy Kane was the president of Def Jam, you know what I'm saying? And what the artist is going through and different things. And I might be mistaken. It was a movie that you did, and you was kicking some game to an artist.
Oh, was it not Wood Harris? Jamie Hector, Marlo from The Wire.
Yeah.
Yeah, called Just Another Day. Yeah. Now I remember that. I mean, that's something that I think would be great. I think it would be great if that if those artists are actually dedicated to doing that.
Mm-hmm.
You have an artist from the early 2000s, 90s, 80s that's actually dedicated to teaching the younger generation the proper way to do it and to have stay power and longevity in the game. Yeah, that would be a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Did you ever insinuate to just would you be a exec for a label? If one of these big labels asked you to be the president of the label?
Yeah, yeah. If they're gonna let me do my job,
Uh-huh.
yeah. If they're gonna let me do my job, because I have an understanding that today's hip hop is a lot different than hip hop when I was growing up. So, you have to give this younger generation their freedom because they into something completely different and they have a different approach. So you have to give them their freedom to really, express themselves, man. But at the same time, you want to keep them on track so that they don't lose themselves, man, and they can, have longevity and a good career, So I mean, just, following those guidelines, if I'm allowed to do that, I would be honored. I'll be honored. But, if it's the type of thing where, I'm getting the job, just as a favor or a handout, and, there's rules and guidelines that I have to follow where, look, we ain't trying to keep their little asses around long,
Yeah.
let them drop this here, get that one single pop, and let's move on to the next person that sound just like them. If that's what it is, then nah, I don't want in.
You definitely don't want to do that. Now, I want to ask you, just classic albums, in this day that people only been in, I did my research and watched all your interviews. And one time you said when you came into the game, it really wasn't about the money for you. It was about the skill.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's why you don't get the classic albums no more, or you could play Smooth Operator right now in a party, as me being a DJ, and the whole crowd shifts, even if it's young people, because now it's more, I've seen me DJing on the live that more people any of the young people are saluting the music from way back than the music now. Like, it's no attention span. Like, I do more, sets like that than the new set.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's certain songs that had certain meanings, it affected an individual a certain way, It might have been the song you was listening to while you were going through college, taking all these different courses. It might have been the song you was listening to while you was in the Army Reserves, or or somewhere else in the military or whatever. It might have been the song when you first fell in love, with someone.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's a song that has stay power, and it affected you a certain way, because it don't just you're not just going back to the song, you're going back to a moment in your life.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Where a lot of material today, it's like someone come with a hot song or a hot style, and within the next 2 weeks there's 20 more artists that's doing the same exact thing, sounding exactly the same. And what happens is, like, it just rapidly becomes trendy. It becomes trendy, and it's like everybody wants that feeling for that month and a half, and then by the time 2 months pass, you're moving on to something else. You don't forgot about all those cats and moving on to something else, because now you're tired of it, because there was no real no real originality or bottom that was put into it, from all these other artists, and it can mess your career up. It can mess your career up.
Well, I want to get into some records. This is my chance. Like, I gotta ask Big Daddy Kane, what's the records that you love to perform that they go crazy? And what's like a sleeper record that you like, I never think this record or gets the crowd where it needs to be, and I want to play those records.
When you say sleeper, you say
like a B-side record. They don't say B-sides no more. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Well, I mean, the main ones is always Raw, Smooth Operator, Ain't No Half Stepping. But as far as that sleeper song, I would say Set It Off.
Set It Off, definitely. Being a living legend and, one of the top MCs, and to Jayz, to all MCs referring to you, and even now the clothing, you see it. You know what I mean? Everybody's, the clothes coming back. I know you're like, the flat tops is coming back. How do you feel about that? That you're like, you're one of the people that, music-wise, clothing-wise, and dancing, it ain't just one thing with you.
I mean, well, I've always tried to be an all-around artist. I started off as just a battle MC, but getting into the music industry, I'm someone that truly appreciate the body of work from people like Smokey Robinson, Marvin Gaye, Luther Vandross, Barry White, Earth, Wind and Fire, Michael Jackson, and just watching them as artists, I felt like, that's a zone that I want to chime into. I want to go into. I want people to really respect my craft, understand my way of thinking, and hopefully I can touch their life in some sort of way, create some sort of happiness. I don't know what might be going on, whether you lost a job, whether you failed a test, whether your woman left you, whatever the case may be, I can bring some sort of happiness into your life,
Now, far as ghostwriting, one of the top ghostwriters. People don't talk about Kane being one of the top ghostwriters, and you don't really, you know what I mean? And nowadays everybody want to have the clout and say, yeah, I wrote this. You've never been that type of person to really, and you probably wrote a lot of records that we don't know about. How do you feel about people not really mentioning you as a top ghostwriter? One of the top.
Well, that's the way it's supposed to go. What you got to understand is that, there were songs that Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff wrote for the OJs or Teddy Pendergrass. There were songs that Smokey Robinson wrote for Marvin Gaye. And when you look on the record, it says, in parentheses, written by S. Robinson, written by K. Gamble, L. Huff.
Uh-huh.
So that makes them the writer. They are the writer of the song. When you're a ghostwriter, you did it under an anonymous name, or there wasn't no credit at all, and you received payment under the table. That's the true meaning of ghostwriting. So if you don't know what I wrote, then that means I'm a damn good ghostwriter because I kept it ghosted. You know what I'm saying? You don't know. Yeah.
Now, who would you say? What is your top 5 hip hop albums? Not including yours, but
I would say It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back. The Great Adventures of Slick Rick. Illmatic. I forget the name of the first Ice Cube album.
Okay. Wow, I forgot that name.
Is America's Most Wanted? Is America's
Most Wanted?
Yeah, America's Most Wanted. And I don't know. Nothing else really comes to mind right now.
Mm-hmm. Why Illmatic is one of your top?
Why Illmatic?
Yeah.
Because it's just an amazing album. Nas just bodied it, and production wise, Pete Rock, Large Professor, Q-Tip, they brought it. It's an amazing tight album. It's an album that I call 8-track worthy.
Mm.
8 tracks, you put them in and just let them play.
Yeah, it's really, you stop it anyway.
You know what I'm saying? Like Illmatic is one of those albums where you don't really have to fast forward.
Feature wise, you've always probably comes down to one of the most legendary features was on Symphony with you. You know what I'm saying? You went crazy on that.
Thank you, man.
Was when you was in the studio, or was it everyone or everybody had to send in do their verse separate?
Nah, that's Pro Tools stuff. We didn't do that back then.
Okay. So everybody's in the studio.
Yeah. We was all in the studio together, man. Yeah.
How was that energy, man? Like, was everybody listening to each other verse, or you was like, oh, it's my turn?
Honestly, I don't think anyone actually wrote a verse. I think everybody came prepared with a verse. I don't think anyone wrote a verse. The only thing that was real strange was the Master Ace situation, because we didn't know that he was going to be on the song. Wow. Marley just told us that day in the studio. Like we came from taking pictures for Marley album cover, came to the studio, and then he said, this is my new artist, Master Ace. I want to put him on the song too. And that just caught me and G-Rap by surprise, because we didn't know nothing about Ace, But after he spit his verse, I'm glad that he's on it. I'm glad that he's a part of it, man. I love that brother.
Was that the first time you ever met him?
To my recollection, I can't remember whether it was Ace or Mr. C that said that I had met him before. I can't remember, but to my recollection, that day was the first day I met Master Ace.
Man, I can ask you questions for days. It's just two more questions for me. Is you know, everybody, man, want to see the verses. I know you get it all the time on the gram when Kane is gonna do the verses and everything. And I heard you in a couple of radio interviews. You like, I'm down for whatever. Who would you, you know what I mean? I know they always try to put you up against Rakim, but who else would you do a versus with?
You know, I mean, you know, it's like, to me, what they're doing with the versus thing is really just having fun with the hip hop culture. It's not even really a battle. So, I mean, you know, honestly, I do it with anybody, you know. I mean, I do it with anybody, you know. If they want the Rakim thing to happen and they can figure out a way to make it happen, I'm down. Let's do it, you know. Let's make it happen. You know, I'm fine with that, you know. Me personally, I would like to do it with KRS-One, because I would like to do it where we do our jams, but then also, you know, do some bars back and forth against each other, turn this into a real battle. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, people still don't understand that your pen ain't left, man.
And neither is KRS. Neither is KRS. And you know, that's the thing. That's what I love about Chris so much. He's a battle rapper. You know, so people got to understand the difference between, you know, a great lyricist and a battle rapper. You know what I'm saying? You got to understand the differences. Excuse me. Because I mean, like, take for example, Sonny Liston, George Foreman, some of the most powerful heavyweights ever. The strongest punches, knocking people out in one round. Mm-hmm. But then they got in the ring with a real boxer like Muhammad Ali, you know, and you see how that turned out, you know. So it's like, you know, how great your lyrics are don't mean nothing if someone knows how to go against you, someone knows how to attack you, someone knows how to take you out of your comfort zone. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And I think that that's an ability that KRS has, and yeah, it would be very interesting. You know. Yeah,
man, because you know, KRS is gonna try to come at you. You know what I mean?
He ain't gonna try. He gonna come. You know. And you know, I mean, you know, I like that. You know.
Well, I appreciate you. You know, giving the time with me, and tell them once again, you know, Mike Epps, and where's it gonna be shown on?
Yes, Mike Epps Hip Hop Party with myself, Big Daddy Kane, Rakim, KRS-One, Dougie Fresh, and Greg Nice. And you can stream it live starting October 9th on hiphoplegends.com, www.hiphoplegends.com.
Oh, cut the whole middleman out. It's hiphoplegends.com. That's what we talk about. You've been around. Who was the artist that you least didn't think they was gonna be that big when you met them?
Jayz.
Wow.
Jayz. When I first met Jay, he was with Jazz-O. And we did a mixtape together. They asked me to work with Jazz-O, and I was like, yo, I kind of like the light-skinned dude better, man. I'm like, can I work with him? And we got together, and I'm like, this dude is amazing, you know? And we was recording songs, and, you know, that's when Jay was doing the real fast rap stuff.
Yeah.
You know, him and Jazz had the originators. And we was recording, and, you know, it was like, you know, songs was coming out cool, but it was like Jay-Z was just, you know, really just starting to learn how to write songs. Like he was a monster at writing rhymes, but he was just learning how to write songs. So that was all new to him, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And Jay was real quiet. He was real quiet. Then he started bringing his boy around, his boy being Source Money. And wow. Source Money was one of the most cocky, arrogant bastards you could meet. You know what I'm saying? And it's so funny, man. Like Source has had this here sarcastic sense of humor. And I could see that, yo, this dude got star power. I was like, he got star power. But Jay was just so quiet, you know, it's like, you know, okay, I felt like, you know, I got to bring it out of him. I got to, you know, try to bring it out of him, you know. I mean, even like when I took him on tour with me, I was having him and Positive K come out on stage and rhyme while I'm in the back changing clothes. And
that's crazy.
Positive K would get down on his knees, be grinding on the floor, lie on stage every night and tell the crowd that he was born in that town. You know, damn well he wasn't born, but Paz knew what to do to work that stage. You know what I'm saying? And Jay would just, you know, just come, get up there and just rhyme. So to see the mega star that he's become, I was just like, wow, like, wow. Like I'm so happy for him, you know what I'm saying? Because I always felt that he was an incredible lyricist, you know, and I wanted to see him succeed. But I never thought it would be to this magnitude. And hey man, much respect to Jay-Z, man. I'm so happy to see him shining.
Yeah, man, that legendary pic with him with the Big Daddy Kane jacket.
Oh yeah, that was the tour. That was the tour. The Chocolate City tour when I had my Taste of Chocolate album out. Yeah.
That's crazy, man. I appreciate you, Kane, for, you know, coming through and dropping some jewels. And
My pleasure, brother.
I'm gonna play that new record. I'm always here. I don't age nothing out, man. So my email is anytime, man. I'll follow you. I'll go into your joint. And my email, send me some records.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm official Big Daddy Kane. So yeah. But I thank you a lot, brother. Appreciate you, man.
Yes, man. I appreciate you.